Hello, and thank you so much for being here today. In today's video, I am going to be unhauling around 15 books and telling you why I'm going to be unhauling them. So I'm making this video because I consider myself to be a huge book collector. I love to both read and collect books. And because of that, I have quite a vast collection. So if a book is something that I'm not going to reread or something that I didn't enjoy, I do feel like it's important for me to get rid of it so I can make room for other books to join my collection. I also feel like just because I didn't enjoy a book doesn't mean that somebody else won't. So if somebody else can find their favorite read from me donating it, then that is an excellent outcome. I will admit that I have a really hard time unhauling books because I am an avid book collector and an avid reader. I just love to have full shelves, but I am challenging myself to unhaul more books. So with all that being said, let's get into the books that I am going to be donating. So the first book that I'm going to be unhauling is The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd, and I actually enjoyed this. This was a gift from my mom, and we actually did a buddy read of it together, so that added to my enjoyment when reading this. However, I don't feel like it's a book that I am going to reread or lend out to a friend, so I'm going to pass it along so that somebody else can enjoy it. Before I continue on with showing you the books that I am going to be unhauling, I do just want to say that I'm not going to be going super in depth about the plot of the books and what happens in them. I'm just going to be giving you a quick overview about the reasons that I am unhauling them. The next book that I am unhauling is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, and I do remember enjoying this book. I read it in 2020 when it was very popular on BookTube, and I actually read this in a day, I think, because it's really short. But I haven't really retained much from it. I remember there was a lot of time spent in a car and that the end was action packed. But aside from that, I haven't really retained much about the plot, and I don't think that I'll be revisiting this one. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. I do remember rating it like 4 out of 5 stars or something, but I can't really remember what it's about. I don't think that I'll be rereading this, so I'm going to donate it so that somebody else can enjoy it. Next, we have a book that I don't even remember the title to. It's A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows by Holly Renee. I read this a few years ago after reading Fourth Wing and trying to get more into fantasy romance. I went through a phase where I was really looking for more titles in the fantasy romance genre, and this one was recommended, but I did not enjoy it. I don't remember liking this, and I don't remember a single thing about the plot. If you ask me what the main character's name is, or the main male character's name is, or literally anything that takes place, I don't know. So for that reason, I am unhauling this. The next one is actually a difficult one for me to unhaul, and I have been holding on to this book because I love the cover. I really enjoyed the book, but I just don't see myself rereading it, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. From what I remember, this is actually a really fun vacation type read. It's a light romance, and I do remember liking it, but I don't think that I'm going to reread it. And for that reason, it is leaving my book collection. The next books I have are the first two in a series. I have What Lies Beyond the Veil and What Hunts Inside the Shadows by Harper L. Woods. And I actually remember quite enjoying the first book. I think I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. I remember it being relatively action packed, but maybe a little bit slow to get going. And then I picked up the second book, and the series was lost for me. I can't remember a single thing that happens in the second book. And I remember after I completed it, I was done with the series. I just really didn't enjoy it. So I'm going to pass these along, and hopefully somebody else will enjoy the series more than me. Next up, I have a very interesting book that I actually debated about unhauling or not, and that is Tender is the Flesh. And if you have read this, you know that this is a relatively disturbing book. And I am glad that I read this. However, I don't think that I ever want to reread it. And for that reason, I am going to be passing it along. This book has a really compelling premise. From what I remember, it's a bit of a dystopian where humans are actually eating other humans as their meat source. And it was really disturbing for me to read. So I'm not going to reread it, but hopefully somebody else who really enjoys the horror genre will like this. The next book is one that I'm actually really sad to be unhauling because I really wanted to love it. I've heard it recommended by so many people as a great book to get into after Court of Thorns and Roses or after Fourth Wing, as a very good fantasy romance book. But it just wasn't that enjoyable for me, and it is rhapsodic or rhapsodic. I'm not sure how to pronounce the title, but this one to me kind of felt like a copy paste of many other fantasy romances, so it didn't feel super unique to me. And for that reason, I am going to be passing it along. I actually did read the next two in the series after this first book, but I borrowed them from the library, so I don't actually have them to unhaul from my collection, but I'm going to be donating this one. Okay, so the next book that I'm going to be unhauling is one that I actually really want to keep. So if this has a good ending to the series and the next books in the series are good, please tell me in the comments and I will keep this book and reread it and go along with the series. But it is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. And the reason that I'm thinking of unhauling this book is because I read this first book and I liked it, but I didn't love it and I didn't like it enough to continue on with the series. But I also just love how floppy this book is. I love a floppy paperback book, and this one is perfect, but I just didn't really love the story, so I think that I'm going to have to unhaul this one. And I am so hesitant to unhaul it because I gave this book a 3.5, and I know that sometimes series get better as they go. And I've heard such good things about her Dance of Thieves duology that I am just curious if this series gets better as it goes on. So if you've read it, let me know in the comments if you think that I should unhaul this or if you think it's one that I should keep and continue on with the series. But for now, this is looking like an unhaul. Okay, I have to switch hands because my hand is literally cramping from holding these books, but the next book that I am unhauling is Neon Gods by Katie Roberts, and I actually really liked this. I thought it was a very fun, spicy book. It wasn't anything super in depth for me. This is a very long series, so if I do continue on with it, I would be continuing on either Kindle or Kobo on my e-readers. So I'm going to pass this along to either a friend who enjoys spicy books, or I'm going to donate it and somebody else will enjoy it. Next is another book that I could definitely be convinced to keep, and that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I read the Six of Crows duology back in 2020, and I remember liking it but not loving it. And I've already unhauled it, but I don't know if now that my reading taste has developed a bit, if I would have liked it a little bit more. So that's why I am hesitant to unhaul this. However, I had the entire series and planned to read this, but I lent out the last books in these series to somebody and I never got them back, unfortunately. So now I just have the first in the series. And I could read this and see if I enjoy it. I hate unhauling a book that I haven't read yet, but because the Six of Crows duology didn't stand out to me as an all-time favorite, I'm hesitant to keep this one. So let me know in the comments if you have read these books and if you think that I should, and this would be one that I would consider keeping, but for now I'm thinking of passing it along. I know I said it at the beginning of the video, but I am so bad at unhauling books. As you can tell, I keep asking to be convinced to keep the books that I'm trying to unhaul. But the next one is one that I am definitely comfortable with unhauling, and that is The Blood of Hercules. This book is relatively hyped on TikTok, and I didn't like it. I found the writing in this to be extremely cringy. And I don't know if it was just me who felt that way, but I am not going to continue on with this series. I think I did read this quickly because it was entertaining, but that's about it. That's all I got from it, was that I was entertained, and I wasn't entertained enough to keep it. So this is going to be an unhaul for me. Okay, so the next book is actually one that I really like, but I have read it 3 times and I don't see myself reading it again, so I'd like to pass it along to somebody else who will enjoy it, and that is The Poet X. I actually have a friend in mind who I think would really enjoy this because she loves poetry. And if you've read this, you know that it is essentially written in a poetry format, and I think she would really enjoy this, so I'd like to pass it along to her. The last book that I am going to be sharing about that I am unhauling today is The Winter's Curse, and I liked this. I didn't love it. but I did actually read the entire series. And I remember liking it quite a bit, but I'm just not going to be rereading this. So I'd like to pass it along for somebody else to enjoy. But I remember this being a pretty solid YA series, just not something that I am going to continue with. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Those are all of the books that I am going to be unhauling. And now that I've made a video on it, I feel like I'm holding myself accountable and I actually have to unhaul them. So if you see me talking about these books in a future video and I still have them, call me out in the comments because I am supposed to be unhauling them. But again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye.